The following program is presented by the Metropolitan Library Service Agency.
Hello, welcome to All About Kids, a program focusing on the interests of children and young people and some of the issues affecting them. Family literacy is an issue in society today. How to involve children and their parents in reading in the home, how to cultivate an enjoyment of reading. Our guests today are Sharon Chapman and Irma Johnson from the Minneapolis chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, a professional women's sorority whose service project this year is called School America. It's an attempt to really focus on the importance of reading in the home. They'll be interviewed by Karen Breen, a visiting librarian from Queensboro Public Library in New York. Karen is the coordinator of children's services for the Queensboro Library.
Sharon, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about the organization, the national organization?
Thank you, Karen. Delta Sigma Theta sorority was formed in 1913 on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. 22 college women decided to form the sorority for the purpose of public service. Since then, we have grown to over 175,000 members, close to 800 chapters throughout the United States and also internationally. We have 5 thrusts that we go after. One is economic development, education development, physical and mental health, political participation, and international awareness. The project we're going to talk to you about today specifically centers around education development and economic development.
The other projects that you have been involved in are not just with kids, or is this the first time you've been doing things that is focused with children? Or?
No, actually, most of our programs are centered around youth, but we also have a lot of programs centered around adults. And actually, School America, which we'll be giving you more details about, also brings in the adults to help with the literacy problem, not only with the children, but as a result of that, the adults also. So our programs are really for adults, for youth, and mainly are geared towards the Black and minority communities.
I see. Irma, can you tell us then about this project and where it started, how you developed it, and what you're planning to do with it?
Well, School America, we launched School America in Minneapolis in December 14th, 1989, with Mayor Fraser doing the kickoff for us at Sumner Library. We have had several reader registrations, and reader registration is one of the activities of School America throughout the Twin Cities. We have focused on Black churches and also the public libraries. And we went to the libraries because we felt that with the children coming into the library, the parents would be coming in. And we're trying to, with reader registration, the goal is to get as many grandparents, parents, and other adults to pledge to read 1 story a week to children between the ages of 1 through 10. So that's why we focused on the library. We went to the Black churches again because the national wanted us to focus in on the Black community because the highest illiteracy problem is among minorities. But in Minneapolis and within the Twin Cities, we have moved out of just the Black community.
I see. Now, this project is based here in Minneapolis. Are there national ramifications for this? Or
it is a national program, and each local chapter implements it on a local level. How this started was Barbara Bush, as you know, one of her initiatives is children and the illiteracy problem. And so the Barbara Bush Foundation looked for a national organization that could take the lead in this, and she asked Delta Sigma Theta to do that. And as a result of that, we formulated the program called School America. It's called School America here. We also have chapters in West Germany. We have chapters in Korea. We have chapters in Jamaica. And there it's School Korea, School West Germany, School Jamaica, and so forth. But she asked us to take the lead in this, and then we got a major corporate sponsor with Burger King, and provided the funding for a lot of the props that we use. And that actually, national kickoff occurred in September with an ABC special. And all the chapters then started doing their launches between September and December. And like Irma told you, we did ours in December.
So in December, you were sort of getting geared up for what's going to be taking place through this year.
Correct.
For 1990.
Correct.
So how about a little bit about the specifics of it? There's a reader registration.
Yes. The main activity was the reader registration. Then each chapter could do whatever they wanted to do throughout the year to have reading going on. We have had one read-in at Sumner Library. We have scheduled another read-in for March 27th at Sumner Library. We're also working with the Urban League in trying to get a readathon set up for the week of March 26th. That has not been confirmed yet, but we're working on that. Other projects that we have that we're looking at for May and June we're trying to get the national teams, the athletes from the national teams to come in and do a readathon. We tried to get it going once before, but we run into conflict with their schedules and the places.
By readathon, you mean that they'd come in and keep everyone reading something.
Right. Read a story to children. And we're focusing on June mostly because the children will be out of school, and the libraries have a lot of activities also going on for children, and they bring more kids seem to be coming into the library for longer periods of time during the summer months.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's so nice to hear that people turn to the library and think about the library connection. Schools and libraries working together is a real nice way of doing things.
Exactly.
How do you feel about it so far? Are you getting registrations? Are people really interested?
Well, so far we have 1,500 registered readers in the Twin Cities area that have been reported to me as
terrific.
of Sunday. We did have a mass registration in black churches the fourth Sunday in February because of Black History Month. We tried to tie it in. And I have not gotten all those calls in yet. So right now, we have like 3,000 cards in the Twin Cities community. So hopefully, we will get all those.
Are the
registered.
registration cards available in the libraries as well as in the schools, or is it just in the school?
No, the cards are available in the Hennepin County libraries, Minneapolis Public Libraries, Minneapolis schools, public schools, and St. Paul Public Schools.
Can I ask you about that nationally? I come from New York, and I'm real curious about this and the ramifications, obviously, for my library system.
Sure. It's going to vary from locale to locale, depending upon the chapter and how they set up their program. But what each chapter has to do is by the end of June, we have to submit to national what our counts are of registered readers. National headquarters is going to compile that information. We have a national convention in July in Miami Beach, and we will present to Mrs. Bush at that time the results of all the registered readers programs and what our numbers have been nationally. So every chapter is doing some type of reader registration. It will vary though, just depending on how they have it set up.
Now, let's talk about incentives. So, what gets an adult to agree to do this? They sign up. What keeps them going?
We have to make contact with the registered readers. So we keep the cards and we have to call them within 10 to 12 weeks to remind them, to find out how they're doing and if they need any help. So that's one way of doing it. Also, with our library registrations, like the ones we had in St. Paul, we gave each child, if they're with a parent, we gave that child a book, a free book.
Wow.
Bookman of Minneapolis gave us 100 books. And we gave these out to the children. We also have balloons that we give to the children. We also use the balloons at our registration tables when we have those.
That's nice. Yeah.
I would also like to show you the button that we use to adults, give to adults when they register to read. And the button states School America Registered Reader Program. And they get to wear this. And since I've been wearing mine, I've had, even the children come up and want to know what is the button for, because people are really into buttons. And so I end up giving buttons to children and whose parents will come back and ask for a card to register, which is really good.
And that's the beauty of this program, because we're bringing in the parents as well with the children. And so it's also emphasizing the strength of that family unit and how reading can be fun, as a family. The other thing that Irma has instituted here locally with the local chapter is members of the chapter are contributing books to bookshelves that are going to be set up in the black churches. And these books will then be available to kids that they will have too. And we're able to also work with the libraries in getting black-oriented, black history books set up for the children.
And the Minneapolis Library also contributed buttons, which I think they stated "Hug a Reader," which are really nice. Yeah. And kids like this, and when the children see these on the registration table, they will get mom, dad to come over, and you tell them if their parents register, then they can have a button. So this is another way of getting the parents registered. Also, I wanted to mention that Delta, our national president, Sarah Kennedy, made the statement that we want to have each family to realize that literacy is a value, should be a value in the family. And if we can promote reading to children at least once a week, we feel that we have accomplished that goal.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the things that we do have in common, that we're seeing that if we begin with the children, we have such a terrible problem with illiteracy in this country, and I think that we have to start at the very bottom of the age range, and this is one of the best ways I can think of to do it.
That's true.
It's really a simple task. If you just think about it, it really is very simple. We're just asking people to read one story a week to a child in 1990, but the results of it is gigantic. I mean, the results that will come out of this, the synergistic effect of it is just overwhelming, and that's what we're attempting to do, something that doesn't cost money, just an hour of your time once a week, and the results will be phenomenal.
And the libraries obviously can help in choosing the books and giving advice on what's good to read aloud, and it would be nice to see, obviously, if there were once it gets started, it keeps itself going. But do you have plans beyond this year? Is it going to be just this once and that's it, or what happens next?
The Minneapolis St. Paul chapter, we do have plans to continue, because we will keep the cards, and we will continue to call to remind people, that they should be reading. We have used the newspaper as a means of getting this out, and we try at least once every 6 weeks to have something in the newspaper about reader registration, to remind people, that they should be reading. And even one lady told me that she has not registered, but reading that article made her aware of the fact that she was not doing this. And although she had little children, she did it when she had time, and once she thought about it, she was not doing it once a week. And so she has started doing that once a week, although she's not registered.
Now, how many members are there locally? You say that you're calling people, you're following up on the reader registration. That's the members of your chapter that are going to be doing that?
Yes.
So you have...
There are probably close to 250 to 300 Deltas in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And we were organizers. We have the chapter here, and the chapter is broken down into committees. Irma's chair of the Education Committee, which is the lead committee for this locally. And I would say you have about 20 members on your committee. And she has a cross range of educators on the committee, which is really good because they're able to go into their respective schools and also get the registrations done too.
Right. And I would assume help to
Make the phone calls.
Make the
Yes.
phone
Make the
calls
phone
and
calls.
maybe even get others
Right,
to
right.
help
Yes.
with that, because I would think that that's going to be the biggest burden in the sense of the amount of time. I know making phone calls, you don't get people and you call back and they call you back
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. But
The other thing that the committee is looking to do as a follow-up is extend this past just the reading to the kids also. We're looking at doing a math camp, and maybe you want to expound on that a little bit more.
Right. Our next goal for the Education Committee is a math camp for minority students in the Twin Cities.
wow.
And we hope to have that in place by next summer.
What would a math camp be? Tell me, it's intrigues me, the concept.
The camp would work with students on math skills, basic skills. Well, what we plan to do is to do a survey of needs among school-aged children within a certain parameter in the city, and work from there. And we have, as you said, several educators in the sorority who are mathematicians and who can work with these students. And the camp, right now we have not set up, let's say, all of the guidelines and the rules and regulations of it, but we plan to have it 3 weeks, like 1 week, June, July, and August, for students in need.
Let's see. Now, again, let's talk about funding for these kinds of things. You said Burger King helped you with
Nationally.
nationally.
The national sponsor.
Yes.
Yes. Not the local sponsor.
So you have cards, you have the little box that
Schoolhouse,
the schoolhouse for the registration cards. This camp is going to cost money. Where do you get corporate funding for your programs, or
No, we do not.
You don't.
Well, let me go back to the reader registration. Reader registration, the funds for the local chapters coming out of our dues money.
Wow. Now that's a commitment.
Yes, it is. Yes,
That
it is,
really
and
is
we
a
feel that that it's worthwhile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
That's
because
what we're here
the
for.
children that we feel we're helping today are our future. And if they cannot read tomorrow, then we're in trouble. So we feel that it's money well spent.
All of our local programs are funded by our dues.
Yes.
So,
Really.
and it's really interesting because what we do is if you were to count all of our volunteer time that was in there, the amount would be astronomical. So we try to expend very little dollars. We make it up in our time that we can cover. And so we have other resources that we can use, like if we can find someone to do some in-kind copying or printing for us, or helping us with the cost of balloons and things like that. But most of it comes out of our local dues that we pay.
Well, now you've mentioned the copying and that sort of thing. Are there other things that people could do to help, and who would they call, and how would they get in touch, and what can they do?
Well, with reader registration for help, they can call me. My name is Irma Johnson, and my work number is 627-2869. My home number is 476-8407. And I can get them in touch with people like, let's say, other SARAs who may be already in their area, who can get registration cards to them. As far as helping with other things,
I'm thinking in terms of not maybe straight dollar for dollar financial support, but that kind of thing, or
well, like manning registration tables. That
Exactly.
yes, we could use that kind of help. Yes, we call that partnership. As we are in partnership with the library, we're also in partnership like with the Urban League and with the schools. And those, if they have to do anything beyond what we can give them, then they take on that responsibility. I would like to share something with you as to how the Hennepin County Library got involved in School America. One of our SARAs was at a daycare, and her son is at the same daycare as one of the workers, I guess, from one of the libraries out in Brooklyn Center. And she had the reader registration there. So she told the librarian about it there. That librarian and the librarian from here was at a meeting and heard about it. So she gets on the phone and try to make phone calls to find out how to get reader registration cards. And I was homesick, and one soror called me. I mean, I was ready to get up right then to come over to Ridgedale to bring cards. But Gretchen was on her way out, and so we lost contact that day. But I was so thrilled to know that the information is getting out beyond just the Black community.
Well, absolutely.
The cooperation we have had with the libraries, wouldn't you say, has just been phenomenal here. Just wonderful. And that has really helped this program be a success.
That's true.
For us. So I want to take this opportunity to say how appreciative we are to the library system here in Hennepin County for the support.
I would also like to show the little box that you may see in places throughout the Twin Cities. It's called School America. And the registration card, let's see your card that you have. This card, you fill out one half and you keep it. And you keep that as a reminder that you ought to read once a week. And the other part you put into the box. And we collect from the box once a month.
And that's where you get your phone numbers.
And that's how we get our phone numbers.
Start your work.
Yes, and the work starts. We have to leave. I will leave this one here today because I had not brought Gretchen one. Another thing we use on our registration table, it's called Delta News, and it just states School America 1990, read, read, read. And I pledge to read to a child through the ages 1 through 10, one story a week throughout 1990. Now we plan to erase 1990 and put 1991 also. Or maybe just dash it in 1991. Okay. So we use that along with our balloons as a part of our setup.
Well, I do think it's exciting what's happening with the library here. I think depending upon what efforts are being made anywhere else in the country, you'll find libraries really do want to be involved in this.
Yes.
We'd obviously love to link up to anything that has this kind of impact on the lives of children, and this is what we're all about too. So yeah, I think it's just incredible, and I'm very glad to have met you. I know I'm going to go home and find out what's being done in my local area. You know, it's a great organization that you have. The math camp, I think, is a fabulous idea. Will that be something that you think will go nationally as well, or is that just a...
Well, we don't know.
The idea usually starts
off. At our
off
first meeting in August, we were asked to brainstorm, and the majority of them wanted to do a math camp. But we received our newsletter from National that same day, and when I got to the meeting, this is what I handed them, and they said, okay, put math camp on the back burner. We're going to pick up what National wants us to do, because we think if the child can read, then the child should be able to do the math. So we felt the reading should come first. So.
Well, the advantage I have by being on a national executive board is the next time we have a national board meeting, I will share with them that Minneapolis-St. Paul is doing this math camp, and hopefully it will take seed and grow into something from the national level. I would like to emphasize that we are a sorority, and typically when people hear sorority, they think of college campus and social. But our sorority was established specifically for the purpose of public service. And everything that we do is geared towards public service. So School America, the math camps, all the other programs that we do locally, and tutoring, we give out scholarships. We have done workshops trying to break the cycle of teen pregnancy. We're always looking for the current issues, the social issues that we need to deal with. And School America will continue to go on in one form or the other. But every 2 years what we do is we find out what is the most prominent social issue there. That becomes the focus at that point, but all the other programs continue on. So we just keep building and building upon.
Well, I'd like to thank you both. This has been fascinating. I wish you very much good luck.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon Chapman, Irma Johnson, and Karen Breen for that lively and provocative discussion. The School America Project is something that we can all be excited about and hope to replicate in our communities.
Gene Baer and Lois Ehlert have combined talents to create Thump Thump Rat-A-Tat-Tat, a foot-stomping parade of color and rhythm. Baer's text and Ehlert's illustrations mesh perfectly to transform the reader into parade-side spectator. The plot is simple. A distant marching band approaches, passes, then recedes. At first sight, the tiny musicians appear in the distance, having just climbed off a yellow school bus, and then the parade begins. Rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, thump, 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 distant drums, chirping horns, rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. Big as ants, loud as crickets, thump, 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 pounding drums, squawking horns, rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. From that you get the idea of the tempo and the rhythm of the text. Now the musicians continue to march across intensely colored pages until they're big as birds, loud as lions, and their music is like thunder. And finally the musicians have reached the parade route directly in front of the spectator. From this point on, the musicians diminish in size, as does the typeface. But one thing remains constant, and that's the staccato verse that Baer has created. That gives the sense of the insistent drum beat of parade music. This book is so simple and such a gem. All elements, text, typeface, and the artwork combine to create an intense experience, the color and excitement of a passing parade. Thump Thump Rat-A-Tat-Tat provides a superb visual and auditory experience and will be a wonderful addition to toddler storytime collections. The rhythm and color of this book make it appropriate for the ages 1 and above. Thump Thump Rat-A-Tat-Tat by Gene Baer.
Thump Thump Rat-A-Tat-Tat by Gene Baer. Reviewed by Trudy Hannis, Children's Services Librarian at the Southdale Area Library, Edina, Minnesota. Thanks for joining us on All About Kids. Please tune in again.
This has been a presentation of Hennepin County Library in conjunction with the Twin Cities Metropolitan Library Service Agency. We thank you for watching, and we hope you visit your public library often.